Good morning, everyone. It's Lynn Dunn from Stamptastic Designs. Thanks so much for joining me today. So today I thought we would just play around with some pattern paper since there's going to be a designer series paper sale coming up this week. So I thought I would showcase one of the packs of paper that is going to be on sale. So we are going to play around with the Mediterranean Blooms designer series paper, and we're just going to use kind of an old technique, I guess you could say. I've shared this technique with you before, but we're going to use the stack, cut, and shuffle technique just to create three quick cards. So I have the cards in front of me here are the ones that I created with the little oranges, and then I have some additional cards that I created with the lemons just to kind of play around with the paper. So I'm going to just show you a fun little technique and little tip for you for using your designer paper. And you can use this with any designer paper that you have on hand. So it doesn't have to be this particular paper. And then I have a couple other card ideas that I want to share with you. Since I was playing around with this technique, I decided to feature this particular suite of products in my monthly tutorial. So I'll show you, I think I have like 12 different card ideas that I'll share with you today. But let me show you how to do this technique. And like I said, I've shared it before, so it's probably not new to you, but it is just a fun way to create a really nice background with your designer paper. And then you can add any little elements that you want. Now, typically when I share this particular technique, I actually use three different patterns of paper. But this time I decided to use some cardstock in there. So I have two different patterns of paper and some cardstock. So I thought adding this piece of cardstock here made it really easy for me to stamp my greeting on the card instead of having a separate, element for my greeting. So you can cut your paper, stamp your greeting, and then you can embellish it with whatever you want. So these are the cards that we are going to make. So I'll move these out of the way for right now. So basically with this technique, what I like to do is I like to prep all my supplies. So I have my three card bases here, which are in garden green, which of course coordinate with my designer paper. So I have three pieces of paper. I have two pieces of designer paper that are 5¼ by 4. And then I have a piece of white cardstock that's the same size. So they're all the same size. And just a little tip for you, we are going to be making these cards in landscape style. So it's the landscape style instead of the portrait style. But if you're using a directional paper like this, so I have my little oranges are kind of running across the designer paper, you want to make sure that you cut the 5¼ inch side first, and then, and then cut the 4-inch side after that so that your oranges are running the correct direction. So on the back of this one, I actually have just an example so you can kind of see it. So these are the lemons, and this is the 4-inch side, and this is the 5¼ and then here's the 5¼ and the 4. So just make sure you're paying attention to the direction of your paper when you're, prepping this stuff and coming up with the project ideas. Okay, so let's put this in our paper trimmer. We're going to cut all of these at once. And I really like using this particular technique because, like I said, you can make lots of cards all at once. We get to make 3. So to me, that's lots. Okay, so I don't measure anything. I just kind of put it in my paper trimmer and I make some angled cuts. So I'm just going to pay attention to where my paper is in this trimmer here, in this groove. And then I'm just going to make the cut. So I kind of want a little angled piece off this side and then a little angled piece off that side to make a little, kind of like a little V. So we'll take those out. And then we're just going to turn our paper a little bit. And we will go, I think, right about there. So I'm just eyeballing it. It doesn't have to be perfect. So you can make the cuts however you want. You don't have to make this style of cut. If you want to cut it differently, you certainly can. I have a variety of different examples out on my website, so you can take a look at those. But basically, now we're just going to shuffle these pieces because we need three different pieces for each of the three cards. So we'll add one of these. We're just going to shuffle them around. So that's why I know it's kind of off screen, but that's why I have the three different pieces here. So this one's going to go with this one's going to go with this one, and then this little white one will go over here. So you have patterns now to make three different cards. So let's put these together. And so what I'm going to do is just add these directly to my card base. And this is what the design will look like. And each of these patterns will be different on each of the three cards. So that's why I like this particular technique, because each card will be different, even though you have kind of a similar layout. So you can adhere these pieces together, which is what I'm going to do, or you can leave a little space in between, but we're just going to go and adhere them together. And that's all there is to it. So I don't know, have you guys used this technique before to create cards? It's a great way to use up your pattern papers. Well, it's also a great way to showcase your pattern papers too. So if you have some really pretty papers that you want to show off, this is a great technique for that. All right, so there's the layout for the first one. And then we'll do the next one. I like to just kind of lay them out a little bit so I know how they're going to go. And then we'll add this. Well, good morning, everybody. Oops, and I put that one on crooked. It's a good thing I'm using liquid glue. There we go. So this is really a cool pack of paper. I don't know what it is about the fruit, but I just like it. All right, so there's the second one. And then here's the last one. And then I'll bring them all back and we'll finish decorating them. And then I'll show you the other cards. So these cards, I'm creating them all in this landscape style. And then the other set of cards I created in the portrait style, just to kind of give you, a little idea of just how different they look. And I use, of course, a different pattern of paper. So if you're just joining me, I'm just kind of showing you some fun ways to use your pattern paper to make three quick cards. We're just using that stack, cut, and shuffle technique. And Stampin' Up! Is having a designer series paper sale starting next week. It's going to run through the month of August. And this is one of the paper packs that will be on sale. So these are the three different layouts. They're all the same patterns of paper. They're just arranged differently on each of the three cards. So now we can go ahead and add our greetings and things. So let me grab this. I'm going to use Night of Navy to stamp all my greetings. And I'm just going to add a little hello. Let's add it to this one first. We'll add the little hello on the bottom. And you can stamp these first before you adhere them. But hopefully I can stamp these okay. There we go. All right, so we got the hellos on there. And now you can add whatever you want to decorate these. So let's start with, let's move some of these over here. Let's start with this one. And so for this one, we are going to add, what am I going to add? I'm going to add these little pieces right here. So I die cut some pieces using the citrus blooms. So actually, if you haven't seen this bundle, this is the bundle that coordinates with the papers in this set. So it has a die set in here. It has actually two. I put my dies on a little magnetic sheet. So it has this large die, and then it has these other dies where you can cut your pieces from the designer paper. So that's what I did. I cut out some of the oranges from the designer paper using the dies. So some of the other dies in there are these particular dies that I'm just going to use. I just cut these from some green, let's see here, from some garden green cardstock, and we'll just create a little cluster here. We'll just add that. Now you don't actually have to add anything else. You can use these cards just as is. I'm going to just layer these together a little bit. And then we'll pop these up over the top. So let's get some dimensionals. So these little flowers are cut from the designer paper, and then the leaves are just die cut from some green cardstock. So that's how I decorated one of them. And then this one, let's see, I can use either, let's see how I want to do this. Maybe I want this one here, and this one I can overlap here, or maybe vice versa. So you just, let's do it this way. You just kind of mix and match. So I just cut these little pieces out. I just thought I like to have a little depth and dimension to my cards. But this card looks pretty just as is. You don't have to have any depth and dimension. But of course I had to use these dies and cut out all these little fruits. So we'll add this. Let's go right about there. All right, so that's basically all you have to do to create 3 quick cards. And then you can use, I gotta grab my little, where did I put them? Here they are. I gotta grab my little embellishments. I just use the navy embellishments that are on here just to add a little bit of bling. And we can add some up here. And I'm going to show you actually how different these cards are. I don't know if I can add any bling on that one. We'll leave that one alone. So I have these 3 cards, but look how different it is because I switched out the white piece. So like, for example, with this blue piece coming down the middle here, I actually switched these 2 pieces around. So these 2 cards look a little bit different. Same with this. I switched those 2 pieces around. See that? So it just kind of gave me a different look for the card. Same thing with this one. These 2 pieces, the white pieces are switched around. So actually now I have 6 different cards that look a little bit different. So that's the stack, cut, and shuffle technique, or cut and shuffle technique as I like to call it. So here is just a couple other card ideas that I created, this time with the lemon paper and the navy paper. And then I used some of the pieces that are on like the edge of the paper. So a lot of times with your designer paper, when you have these full images like that, a lot of the images get cut off on the edge of the paper. So I just use them on the edge of my card. just to embellish it. So that's what I did here. Some of these little pieces here are from the edge of the designer paper. But see how you can use this technique to create it in landscape style or in portrait style. So it's a very similar design, but it looks different depending on the orientation of your card. So just some fun ways that you can use this particular paper or any paper that you have on hand. So those are the other ones that I put together. And then I'll just give you a sneak peek of some of the cards that I put together for my monthly tutorial. I like to put together a tutorial every month and just give it as a gift for people who place an order with me. So this month's tutorial does feature this paper, and it features the Citrus Blooms bundle. So I have 6 different cards that I'll share with you in a second. But this actually I put together for a swap with my team. We did a little fun fold swap. So this is what I created with that. I just really like I don't know, I just really like the large fruit images. It just makes a really pretty card. These are just some of the cards from my tutorial. I don't have all 6 of them here, I don't think, but just kind of gives you an idea. And you can use the stamped image along with the images that you cut out of the designer paper. Here's just another one. So really fun and simple ideas. Great way to make just a bunch of cards really quickly, either with the stamp cut and shuffle technique or with the tutorial. So those are the cards. Let me see if I can scoot them all back. There's like 12 different cards here. I just had a lot of fun with this particular set, and I think you will too. It's really easy to create a variety of different cards, really for any occasion. And you can, of course, use this technique to create just some quick cards if you want to. So I did provide a link in the description below this video for the tutorial. I know there's a lot of people that ask me about selling my tutorials, so I do have them available out on my website if you would prefer that option instead of placing an order. So you can find the tutorials, this tutorial and a bunch of other tutorials out there. But the tutorial for the cut and shuffle technique, that will be out on my blog later today. So I hope you guys enjoyed these card ideas, and just take a look at the designer series paper sale that's going to start next week. There are a variety of different pattern papers from the annual catalog. There's a selection of them that will be on sale next week through the end of August. So I'll share more fun ideas with you featuring some of the designer papers that are going to go on sale. All right, you guys. So I hope you enjoyed these card ideas and have a wonderful rest of your day and a great week. And I will see you guys all again next week. So take care, everybody.